My name is Ronnie Solomon, owner of RS Motors. This is my 2006 Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9 RS. It just came off the dyno at 540 and about 470 foot-pounds of torque. It's a little high in boost, so we're just kind of testing everything out to where it will max out at. We'll probably turn it down for competition-wise. We always want to see what it'll go up to and then kind of back it down from there. 2-liter engine, 10-to-1 compression engine. This is a 85.5 bore. This year we're running the Eagle crank, 2-liter crank, 88 mil, Manley Turbo Tough with 625 hardware. And pretty much 625 hardware everywhere it's available. So it's rod bolts, head bolts, mains still just a standard ARP. Valve train, cylinder head. We have the GSC S2 cams, the Beehive springs, retainers also from GSC. Stainless steel valves, end canal exhaust valves. They're all standard size, nothing oversized. This head doesn't have a lot of porting done to it, but it's more of a cleaning the ports, getting the rough edges out. But other than that, it's a basic head. For fuel system, we are running a Walbro 450 pump. It's on a hardwire relay. Running E85 1600cc injectors. The turbo kit is a Garrett G Series 660 turbo. The hot parts are fabricated by Matt Haney, Phobia Fab. We're running an AMS intercooler. Should be good for 600, 650 horse and covers what we need to do. The oil cooler itself is a Setrab kit that MA Performance sells. Blow-off valve, we have an APS blow-off valve, tested a few of them. That seems to hold the most boost and not leak for the boost level that we're running. So switching from a crushed blow-off valve to an APS unit, the boost actually went up from 34 to like 38 pounds, just switching. So I kind of knew that because I knew the boost, the wastegate duty I was putting into it, I should be getting more boost, but it wasn't. So I thought switching to blow-off valve would be a good way to find out. For transmission, we have a standard Evo 9 gearbox with a straight cut fourth. From recent years, we've busted the fourth gear on these cars, coming out of corners, full boost, and you'll just shred the teeth out of fourth gear. So we've swapped those fourth gear with a straight cut fourth gear that still uses synchros. For clutch, it's an Exedi twin disc clutch this year. Yeah, transfer case is pretty basic. I believe this one is still stock. For suspension, we have the Reinhardt 3-way. These are custom valves from TF Dave. They're springs. We are running a different set this year than before. We're always testing new ways how to make this car handle a little better. We have 10K in front and 12 in the rear. They're 8-inch in the rear and 7-inch in the front. We're trying to compensate for how the car would sit down or droop. We are running the Weissfab full kit, so that's a full control arm, tie rods, spindles. I mean, everything's switched from the factory to custom pieces from Weissfab. What it does is it corrects the roll center of the car from having the hub at a lower position and lowering the car down, which raises up the arm. What the Weissfab does is it corrects the geometry, so the hub sits higher and the arm is still on a nice level where we can have a full range of motion from the arm and still be in the right geometry. For tires, we are running these Falken Azzinis 615K Plus. We ran this last year and had really good luck with them. They plenty of grip, and we are running 315, so it's a lot wider than you can fit in these cars. It's not easy to do. We can only do it because we're able to push the Weissfab kit to swallow a lot of the tire inside the body. Without doing that, you'd have to get some fender flares to make them fit. Yeah, this car is now running on AEM Infinity. New for this year, we've always ran stock ECU just because it works. There's no issue about it. So AEM is one of the things we're moving into this year for this one. And we can still use a stock ECU just as good as far as power, but AEM gives us more options, more logging capabilities is probably one of the biggest plus. We have a lot of sensors now running on the engine. We have fuel pressure, we have oil pressure, oil temp, ethanol, all into the AEM Infinity. So we're using the Bride seat, I believe that's a Sparco steering wheel with energy adapter with a quick release on it.
I'm Andy Smedegard. I am one of the drivers of the RS Motors Falcon Tire One Lap Evo. I guess one of the big things Evos have on track is oiling issues. Usually you're gonna only have these issues once you start running grippier tires, bigger suspension or better suspension. Once you exceed that, 1G of lateral grip, you'll start running into oiling issues on right-hand sweepers. If you're running a full stock pan and everything. And we have done, this is still a wet sump oiling system. A lot of people think we're running dry sump and stuff. Not on this car, still a wet sump. We're running a baffled oil pan, it's a race fab. They take an OEM pan and they kind of cut it apart and make some baffles and stuff in there with trap doors. And then on top of that, we're also running an AccuSump, which is just a kind of a pressurized reservoir of oil that will get dumped into the motor when it sees oil pressure drop below, I think we have a 50 PSI switch in there. So if it sees oil pressure drop below 50 PSI, it's gonna open up and give the engine some oil for a limited time. It's more of a Band-Aid, but it does help. Through logging and stuff, this setup is working well. It's not working perfect. Full stock setup, we're seeing like oil pressures in the teens. Now we're seeing it more in the high 30s, low 40s, depending on the course and stuff. Some tracks are worse if they've got really long right-hand sweepers. That's gonna make it worse. So